In this video, we will try to create a woven tiling pattern inspired by Erwin Hauer. So it's basically a rectangular grid pattern, base pattern, with a shape tiled in one direction, and then there is, the yellow one, there's an overlapping tiling pattern that is very, very similar but flipped in the z direction in this case, that interlocks it. Okay, so we will start with one of this pattern first and see how we can create the base unit. So in Rhino, go back to the 4 view. Let's start with creating a square, and we will draw circles, starting with the corner and moving over just shy of the midpoint. Okay, and then we can trim the circles with the square. Select everything, right click to zoom extents off viewport. Okay, so now we have something like that. And if you press F10, after selecting all the curves, you see the control points. Okay, so back to the pattern, you can see in one direction along one axis, the surface is elevated, and on the other direction it's lowered. So we can say it's doing something like this, right? The issue with it is if we just tile this pattern or this unit, we will have a situation where the adjacent pattern will create a kink. There's no continuity here. Okay, so we want to redraw this in such a way so that we don't have that problem. So what we want to do is select all the curves, rebuild. I just type in REB to rebuild, and you can see a circle is a degree 2 curve defined by 3 points. What we want to do now is to rebuild it into a degree 3 curve with 5 control points. If you press F10 again, so we can see we have 2 points right on the edge for us to work with. So what that means is grab those 2 points for each curve, elevate them 1 unit, grab the 2 points for each curve, and lower them. So now we are able to maintain tangency. Okay, and that is because the last 2 curve the last 2 control points for each curve, right, are in a straight line. So that is called a tangential continuity. Okay. So now what we want to do is start to understand or break it down into a sort of rough blocking shape. Okay, so what we want to do is at the midpoint, I'm gonna add a line here, and then I want to let's say take this curve and then trim or split by the square. So I maintain the shape, but now I've broken the curve down into smaller sections. Okay, so now press F10. This is the fun part. This is where we get to use the sub-D tools. Okay, there are a lot of functions, a lot of tools within the sub-D tool menu. We will be using about only 3 tools, and for the most part, 3 or 4 is all you need. That will be the most common workflow. Okay, so here we'll go look for the single sub-D face icon, click on it. So what it does is it allows you to create an object face by face. And what I'm doing here right now is I turned on the control points for all the other curves. So what you're doing is you're reconstructing a sub-D surface based on the control points of the other curves. Okay, so that's how we're creating these individual faces. Oops. Okay, so for this one, I should be doing it like this. Okay. And then when you're done, right click to finish. Now, if you press tab, the tab key, you can see how the shape is broken down. You know, you see the rough polygonal shape again, and then press tab again to go back to the smooth version. So this is the property of a sub-D surface. Okay, so what we want to do now is to offset, you know, to give it thickness, volume, right? So distance 0.125, turn it into a solid, yes. You want to offset both sides, yes. So, and then, yes, you want to delete the input. Okay. So, you get a fairly good approximation of the original shape. And what we want to do now is to, again, you know, as we tile, we want this to be a sharp corner. Okay, so right now this corner is very smooth. So we want to use the crease tool to add a crease to it, to the edge. Okay. To the corner edge. So it's having all the corner edges selected, then right click. Okay. So now we have a pattern, a basic tiling unit that tiles fairly well. Okay. And for the other woven pattern, I think all it is a mirrored version of that. And that mirrored copy is just do a grid snap, is an offset. Okay. So actually, I don't even think that it's mirrored. It's just an offset. Yeah. It's just simply an offset. There's no mirroring. Okay, so that's the woven tile